Alright, everybody. How y'all doing? Today's gonna be a little different episode of Dokkan When, as, well, it's just me today, Hayden. Dale is sick and Will has taken care of some things, so I've made jokes before about just being a single episode, like maybe a time or two there's just me leading an episode, which I personally never thought that would ever come into fruition, if I'm being honest. I thought we were going to have a Dale and Will episode before we had a me episode. But I guess I was wrong. But that's okay. So it was kind of odd. It's maybe a shorter one, but you know, I'm going to keep up with how I want my show done. My show is, well, just talking Dokkan. It's like right now I'm trying to do getting the final medals for the Tech, Kale, and Caulifla, which I said I wasn't going to summon for. I did say it, but you know I wouldn't put those 100 stones in and got 2 copies of them, so that's okay. I'm happy with them. There's some really good units. If you haven't summoned for them, I recommend you go summon for them. Very, very, very powerful units, honestly, as much as I hate to admit it. I did gripe about it in our Death of Dokkan episode, but I hate that these gals are so... They're just so good. It's annoying at how good they honestly are. So today's episode, being a solo episode, is, like I said, it's going to be a little different. I may go, my tangents are, it's probably going to be more straightforward Dokkan than episodes have been in the past without the tangents and stuff. So I guess we'll call this more an informational episode. But Dale, unfortunately, not Dale. The idea, it was Dale's idea, because it was an episode, like maybe episode 4 or 5. He came up with the idea of, what if we rebuilt some units? Like, take units out there, just take them from scratch. We'll take AGL, like a unit out there, and we don't like how it's built. We'll go over the entirety of the unit and give that unit a brand new build, percentages, leader skills, super attack buff, all that good stuff. And so since it is just me, I think I'll go through 10 characters just to, I guess, kind of fill in a little bit more of the time of this, you know. I might not, who knows, this could still only be a 30-minute episode. I hope that's not the case. I hope I at least by myself can get it to like 45. But we'll see how it goes. So first unit on my thing, we'll call it the honorable mention out of my list that I would rebuild. I also have some music playing in the background, so hopefully this doesn't get copywritten. I'll be really upset if so. But one of the first units that I personally would rebuild, my honorable mention we'll call it, is AGL Movie Boss Turles. Now, Movie Boss Turles, for all of you out there who know, he's 3-key 150 stats to movie bosses, or 3-key 50% stats for extreme type. Meteor Burst, it's a super attack, causes immense damage with medium chance to stun the enemy. That's a 30% chance. His passive, he gives all allies 3-key 40% attack, lowers enemy attack, super enemies attack by 15%. Superclass enemies attack minus 15%, and activates Fruit of the Tree of Might boost when conditions are met. And those conditions are, he has a 25% chance to activate for 3 turns, when HP is 80% or below. And then when he transforms, the super attack becomes Calamity Blaster with a 50% chance to stun enemy. He has 130% attack and defense, recovers 15% HP, and lowers superclass enemies' defense by 80% at start of turn. So this Turles unit we're going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about his transform state. I really am okay with his transform state. In all honesty, he's a really, really good unit. There's only one thing I would do. He doesn't really need it, but I would give him key in his transform state, like give himself 3 key. But what I would mostly do is for this Turles, we can also count this more or less for an easy A, would be first thing is change his 3-key 50% to extreme class into 70%. Because even when this Turles came out, 50% was not enough of a buff. 50% was going way back to the olden days, back in my day leads of Dokkan. So I would make him a 3-key 70% lead just for extreme class, which would have helped a little bit. Because he was mostly used, you take him on his movie boss's team, you could take units like Kid Buu, or we'll take, what would be another one? Not AGL Musumasu. We'll say AGL Rose or something like that does support the rotation for extreme class, but they decided to make it 50%, so it really wasn't viable back then. I would also have his super attack raise his defense for 3 turns on super. 30% defensive raise, just because Turles here is not a defensive unit. He's much like one of the later units we're going to talk about on this list that has no natural defense to him. And that is a very big problem for this unit. I know his whole kit is he's a supporting unit, and when he transforms, he becomes a monster. But you actually, from every person I've ever heard talk about Turles here, you want him in his base form, his non-transformed state, because he's better in his supporting. The 3-key 40% attack for the entire rotation is much better than 130% attack and defense to start a turn. The 50% HP recovery is really good, but this 3-key 40% support is actually more of a thing for him. So like I said, he gives himself, he actually has no base attack, he just has support on him. So I would give him 60% attack and defense at start of turn. So for himself, he would give himself 100% stats attack, or with his support included. So give him 60% defense, and then on top, so allowing him to have a much better thing. It's not a whole lot of defense, but it's better than what he has, which is pretty much zilch. And even if they didn't do that, have him greatly raise defense for 3 turns on, or even heck 1 turn. I would personally say 3 turns, but have him greatly raise defense for 3 turns on super attack, allowing him to be a more defensive unit. Because there have been times I've seen this guy taken into challenging events where he's a supporting role, but he gets hit for, we'll say, 80,000 damage on a normal attack. That's a bit extreme, but there are some things like that. I saw, like, one of the buddies in our Discord took him and Intelligence Goku Black into the God event, and both of them were getting knocked around like no man's business. And yeah, he'd be my honorable mention. And so, like I said, I have 9 other units I'm going to talk about in this list for hopefully as long as I can. This may not be as long as I want, because we're not even 10 minutes in and I got my first. But that's okay. We'll get this taken care of. I'll get it taken care of. Everything will be A-okay. Starting off with my actual first unit on the list. The first unit on my list that I would change is the, I gotta find him, AGL Tapion. Even after Easy A, I still hate AGL Tapion. Very, very annoying unit. Powerful, yes. Annoying, also yes. Just because of his passive. One big thing out there, if you're a new listener to Dokkan Wen, go check out our other episodes. I have expressed my hatred for some units in this game. A lot of units, if I'm being honest. But Tapion is one of them that, even after his Easy A, I said he got better, I still dislike a whole lot. Like, I would rather not run him than... I'd rather run a Cyberman than him on a lot of his teams. I don't care. The only time I really ever use him is on Giant form. Even like storied figures, if I can ever find him, I do take him there just to link up with the Tapion and Minosha LR, but I still don't like him. So Tapion, once he Easy A's, he is 3-key and 160% to Giant form categories. And he increases the maximum amount of transformations by 1. That right there is okay. Super attack. He lowers, he causes immense damage and lowers the attack and defense by enemy. That's 20% lowering. He gives himself 120% attack and defense to start a turn and reduces damage by 50%. Unconditional. That right there is A-okay. However, whenever you fall below 50% HP, you get an additional 80% attack. And then you can also transform into a Harudegarn whenever you fall below 50% HP. And that right there is the biggest problem I have with this unit, is the, you have fall below 50% in order to activate, to proc 2 specific things. The transformation, which is good on his own, along with, and then the transformation, and then you have an additional 80% attack buff. Which, one thing I have expressed when it comes down to Tapion, though the unit himself is good, he is limited by the amount of use you can get with his offensive numbers. Because if you take him into a team, we'll take an example of Super Battle Road. Prime example. We'll take, say, Giant Form Super Battle Road, because Giant Form is a little challenging if you don't have the right units on it. So you take him in there, get him fall below 50% HP, he transforms into a Rudigar. Turns come about, he goes and either kills the enemy or he doesn't kill the enemy. We'll just for the sake of this example, we'll say he does not kill said enemy. He then comes back that next rotation with his 200% attack, which is very, very good. However, in a situation where you get below low enough HP to need that transformation, you're not gonna want to be that low of HP. So we'll take that giant form Super Battle Road. Once you transform back into Tapion, you're gonna immediately want to heal back up so you don't risk taking that much damage again. Because if you're below 50% HP, that means you can die pretty easily if you are below that HP threshold. Meaning that that next turn that Tapion comes around, that 80% buff is no longer gonna be there. So he's just getting 120% attack and defense as opposed to 200% attack and 120% defense. And I really do not like that. I do not like the fact that he's limited by that, especially whenever he's also limited by a transformation mechanic. So me personally, if I rebuilt this Tapion, this is just me on here, there's one of two ways I would actually rebuild Tapion here. If you fall below 70% HP, then you get your 80% attack buff, and then you also have your 50% threshold. It's a lot easier to get to the 70% and not need to heal than it is 50% and not need to heal. The other one would be, once you fall below 50% HP, you get that 80% attack for the rest of the game, or for the rest of the, not the turn, but the rest of the event. So it's like Infinite Dragon Ball History. Turn 1, you fall below 50% HP, and then come turn 5 or whatever, when he transforms back from Hirudegarn, he has that 200% buff. He's going to have that 200% buff for the rest of the Infinite Dragon Ball History, allowing him to do a lot better than the fluctuating numbers through it. And also Ki. I would give him Ki. Because if you don't have him linked up with like a Tapion unit, his Ki is kind of lacking, so I would have him give him up a 2 Ki, like an additional 2 Ki in passive. So at least if he's on his giant form team, he'll give himself 8 Ki. But granted, he has a transform, which transform link gives 2 Ki. But just for in all honesty, I would rather him just give himself 2 Ki naturally, and then whatever he gets from his passive is linking, as opposed to just 120% attack and defense with 50% damage reduction, and then a additional 80% if HP is below 50%. It limits the unit a whole lot in his numbers. My opinion. That is just my personal opinion. Some people out there I know really like Tapion. They even liked him before Easy. I'm one of the people who never liked him. I liked him when he first came out. As I started playing and using him, I started to realize I did not like his unit. And there are some people out there who do agree with me that his unit is a very wonky built unit, even for what it was back in the day when he first came out. So So Tapion is my number 9, is my 9th unit, leading into another AGL unit, which is Android 13. AGL Android 13 to be exact. So AGL Android 13, he is Target Goku or Android's category, 3 Ki, 130% to HP, and 170% to attack and defense as his leader skill. He causes immense damage to enemy, greatly lowers defense with a medium chance of stunning the enemy. Passive skill, he gives himself 130% attack and defense. Android's category allies 2 Ki, 30% attack and defense. Attacks guaranteed to hit, and transformed when conditions are met. And whenever he transforms, is just after is it 5th turn? I believe it's 5th turn. Yeah, 5th turn when there are 2 or more Android's category allies on the team. And then after he transforms, his kit becomes super attack, causes immense damage to enemy, massively lowers defense with a medium chance of stunning the enemy, and his passive becomes 3 Ki, 130% attack and defense, plus an additional 13% attack and defense per target Goku category ally on the team. Attacks guaranteed to hit and disables enemy guard. Performs a critical hit when facing an enemy whose name includes Goku, Youth Captain Junior GT excluded. Now, that one thing that I would honestly change about him, the biggest thing I would change about him, would be his transformation. Because it is what is known as a forced transformation. You have no control over this unit's transformation. And running him as someone who runs androids a little more frequently than he probably should, especially over on global side, that actually hinders the team slightly. Because they do not have good enough supports to actually run on the team, except for 13 here. 13 here is, at least on global side, before we get some EZAs, is the best support for an android category thing, better than the physical androids, because I think all they do is they give attack, not defense. So I wish, one thing I would change about this is it's an active skill transformation, like STR Cool or Physical Golden Frieza. Stuff like that, which is whenever on that 5th turn, if there are 2 or more android allies on the team, then you transform, allowing this unit a little more versatility because you could have him linked up with himself, base form with transform state, or you could have this one, say, turn 10, helping out some of the stronger units on the team, like we'll say STR Cell or, I don't know, AGL Super 17. Because those guys right there would benefit a whole lot from 13 support as opposed to Super 13 just critting and doing stuff. And then also you'd take into account of the Transformation 13, AGL Transformation 13 getting an even bigger buff from Android 13 himself. That supporting on there, along and linking with him, would make him fusion unit a lot better unit than what he already is. Because he's honestly a really powerful unit. The guaranteed hits and crits against Goku units are very powerful. Very, very good. I've seen a lot of people overlook that one aspect of this unit. And it kind of disappoints me that people don't think that much on this unit. Because of the transformation requirement. The transformation abilities, we'll say, I think is the right word to phrase it. So yeah, I would honestly make his transformation an active skill, and I'd have him be 3 key with his 30% support as opposed to 2 key, just because, you know, why not? And if he ever got an EZA, we'll also add an EZA in there. I want him to give an additional 13% attack and defense to target Goku category allies. Just because, you know, 13 is 130% and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, there's my, what was that, 8? Yeah. Yeah, that's my 8th one. Sorry, guys. We're running this on my own. It's kind of hard to keep track with my units. Next unit I would rebuild would actually be a more, I'm not going to say recent one. Find him. There he is. I mean, he's not a more recent one. Very, 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 very old unit. One of my favorite tech-type units in the game. It is Tech Whis. Tech Whis is an older unit. Very much older unit. I'm not even entirely sure when this unit came out, but he's an old unit out there for players who don't know. But Tech Whis, AGL, Tech, and Strength type key, 2, and stats plus 30%. That's how old this guy is. This is TUR, by the way. Causes supreme damage to enemy and lowers attack. His passive skill, which is why I like him so much. Attacked enemies attack minus 20% and high chance to stun the attacked enemy. So whenever he hits, he has a 50% chance to just stun the enemy for the turn. Now, like I said, this Trunks. Well, I said Trunks. This Whis is a much older unit in the game, meaning he's not going to be as his kit's going to be a little different than what later units would. Well, heck, if you even take this Whis compared to the STR Whis in his SSR form, that Whis is 10 times better than what this Whis is ever going to be. I wish we can also include this for, I guess, EZA later on down the road if they want to do this. But a couple things I wish this Whis could do. I wish he lowered enemy attack and defense on Supered and had a chance to stun on a super attack too, not just his passive. Because that stun is literally just for one turn. He taps him. Let's say if it's the final attack of the turn, he attacks an enemy that's intelligence type that's about to super him. We'll take in God event. If you can stun if you could stun in the God event, he'd hit what's his name, Gene. Stun him for one turn. That next turn he would not be stunned. So I wish that stun would last, so that super attack stunning would actually benefit the unit a lot more. I'm fine with the enemy attack minus 20%, but I wish that was unconditional, and then he lowered the enemy attack by an additional 10% after attack. So he's always 20% down, and then an additional 10% whenever he attacks for 2 turns. And then I want this Whis to give himself a, not support, but I want him to give himself 3 key, and if we're going 30 lower stats, so we'll give him 50% attack and defense at the start of turn. Because this Whis is not strong in any way, shape, or form. His whole thing is his stunning chance, which I'm really happy with that stun chance. That's a big reason I like this one, but I want him to have at most 3 key, 50% stats, at least 2 key, 30% to attack and defense and passive. But this Whis is a very, like I said, good unit. If you out there are struggling with Super Battle Road and want to risk it, I have beaten Super Battle Road with this Whis. His stuns come in clutch, and it doesn't help that my Whis 20 dodge in him. But this Whis has actually done a really good job. So I like this Whis, and I think he deserved a mention on this list. He's not an honorable mention because he is ones that are getting kind of the bad aspect of units. Just, you know, me personally saying that. But, yeah, so that Tech Whis is absolutely one of them. 2, 4. Is that it? Hold on, my brain's messing up. Okay. So first one was Turles. No, Turles, Tapion, 13, Whis. Okay, I got 6 more. I gotta go through my other, sorry guys, I'm running this solo. I have a hard time keeping track with how I want to do, with how I would do stuff, but I'm doing my absolute best here, so I apologize if this sounds unprofessional, but this is Dokkan Wen. Are we ever professional on Dokkan Wen? No. All right, next unit we're going to talk about is this is actually a slightly more recent unit in the game. It's a Dokkan Fest Tech Janemba. Tech Janemba here is a Corroded Body and Mind, 3 key, 170% to stats, or Extreme Class, 3 key, 130% to stats. He raises defense for 1 turn on super and causes immense damage to enemy. He gives himself 120% attack and defense and guards all attacks. Extreme Class allies key +2, plus an additional 30% attack and defense with 4 or more type key spheres obtained. Reduces damage by 30% with 2 or more rainbow key spheres obtained. And then when he's transformed, it can be activated after receiving 5 attacks or more. This is an active skill transformation. He transforms into Super Janemba, whose Super Tech raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to enemy. He gives himself 180% attack and defense, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to either rainbow or a type key. So it's basically, it could either be randomly change an AGL one into a strength one or change an AGL one into a rainbow one. Plus an additional 40% attack with 3 or more type key spheres obtained, and a high chance of evading enemy super attack when collecting 1 rainbow key sphere. Now, this Janemba, very good unit. I've seen a lot of people hate on this unit. I hate on him too, but in all honesty, he's not a terrible unit. Is he the best? Absolutely not. But he's not the worst either. One thing I would change about him is I would have him greatly raise his defense for 1 turn in a super attack, just because this is for a fat Janemba. We'll call this baby Janemba. Not baby Janemba. We'll just call this normal Janemba and then super Janemba sword form. I would have him greatly raise defense because this Janemba is supposed to be a more defensive unit. It's very obvious in his kit. But one problem with this Janemba is his kit of the numerous orbs and stuff. If you compare him to AGL Tapion, it came out at the exact same time. AGL Tapion gives 2 key, 30% to stats, while super class attack and defense with 3 type key spheres obtained. Whereas Janemba needs 4, and then he gets damage reduction with 2 or more rainbow key spheres. Meaning this Janemba is a lot more starved for orbs to get his full capability as opposed to Pycon. So one thing I would do is drop this Janemba's support from 4 key spheres to 3, which I think a lot of people would agree with. That way it helped the team out a heck of a lot more. It's a lot easier to get 3 orbs, 3 of the same color orbs, than it is 4. As someone who's ran him a lot, even if you know how to maneuver and adjust the field to what you want it to be, it's still a hard thing to do. As opposed to, 3. That'd be one thing, and I would also change his damage reduction to 1 rainbow key sphere. 1 rainbow key sphere for 30% damage reduction as opposed to 2. Granted, 2 rainbow key spheres isn't the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's still not always going to happen. And there are some events where you need this damage reduction in order to make him do really well, which is why I also included the greatly raising defense in his super attack. So you can have the whole defensive thing. So his base form, 3 key spheres as opposed to 4, and 1 rainbow key sphere as opposed to 2. Now on his Super Janemba form, I would rather him greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn. Be honestly the big thing for it. Though it's a very powerful unit, I wish he would greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn. And I wish he's another one that he's not limited, because there's just a lot of orb mechanics that he has with him. A whole lot. Like I said again, he gets 3 or more type spheres, he gets an additional 40%, and he gets a 50% dodge chance for 1 rainbow key sphere. I wish this Janemba, if you got it's like a certain amount of orbs, will take STR Super Saiyan 3 Broly as an example. STR Super Saiyan 3 Broly gets a chance to do he gets a 30% chance of launching an additional super attack with 3 or more tech key spheres obtained. I wish this Janemba had that same kind of effect, where if you get, we'll say 4 type key spheres, he has a chance to, he has a medium, 30% chance to do an additional super attack in his passive. That would allow him to do a lot better, offensively and defensively, because once you transform, if you've used him, you realize that he's lacking. He's lacking so much in the defensive department as opposed to his fat form. Next one we're going to talk about is going to be one of my favorite units in the game, one of my favorite intelligence units in the game, Future Gohan. Transformation Future Gohan. Future Gohan here. He is a Bond of Master and Disciple or Hybrid Saiyans category, 3 key, 170% to attack and defense, HP and attack, and 130% to defense. His super attack greatly raises defense for 1 turn and causes immense damage to enemy. Passive skill. Attack and defense was 100%, reduces damage by 58% when HP is 58% or less, and Bond of Master and Disciple category allies 1 key, 30% to stats, and transforms when conditions are met. When conditions are met, you have to have 58% or more HP with a Trunks ally on the team, Kid and GT excluded from the 4th turn of battle. Then he can transform into Super Saiyan, where he raises attack and causes immense damage to enemy. Gives himself 100% attack, reduces damage by 58%. He gives himself 1 key and 30% attack and defense per Bond of Master Disciple category ally attacking the same turn. He is included, doesn't say that. And launches an additional super attack when there's an androids category enemy. So, Gohan here. Very good unit. He's very defensive when you pay attention to his kits, especially in slot 2 or after he super attacks. But he does have some flaws to him. One big flaw that me personally I don't like is I wish his support was 2 key and 30% attack and defense. Just because of Bond of Master and Disciple is a lot of hybrid Saiyans, or Saiyans that have over the Flash or some of those key links. I can't remember all of them right offhand. But they have those, but not all of them do. So if you give an additional key, it would help out the team a whole lot more. That's honestly in the base form the biggest thing. Aside from is HP reduction. Damage reduction, I wish wasn't 58% or less. I wish it was if there was a Future Trunks on rotation. So if we had let's take Tech Future Trunks was on rotation with this Gohan, he reduces damage by 58% as opposed to and make him a lot better defensively, and it also utilize something that's it'd also be another thing of how you want to do this, because he's another one of those units that is caught with the problem of forced transformation, where he just transforms, you have no control over it. So I wish this is another one of the units I wish was an active skill transformation, because it would be another one of those things that would benefit the unit in both aspects of it. Because this Super Saiyan Future Gohan, if you had a base Future Gohan supporting him, he'd be doing a lot better offensively and defensively. And it's kind of upsetting that it is a forced one. Who knows? I'm still hopeful for part 2 of the Christmas thing on JP. We're gonna get LR Future Gohan into Trunks. I'm really hopeful for him. But let's see. Looking at his thing, I wish he would get like 35% attack and defense per bond of master and disciple category allies on the team, as opposed to just 30. That's just me being picky. That additional 15% is not going to be a whole lot, but at the same time, it kind of is. Because there are going to be some events, if you don't have Future Gohan Rainbowed, he's not going to be doing anywhere near as good as he could with, in other events. Just because of his, not lack of defense, but the fact that he only has damage reduction with no kind of defense does kind of make him a liability in some events. Not a whole lot, because damage reduction works really, really well in some events. Just because of the thing of said unit. Now we're going to go on to the next one, which is another, you got an easy A, it's STR Janemba, STR Super Janemba. STR Super Janemba, he has 3 key, and 130 to stats to extreme strength type, or 3 key and 90% to stats to a super class. Super type. The super attack causes immense damage and massively lowers enemy defense. He gives himself 100% attack and defense and guards all attacks to start unconditionally. He has a 30% chance of evading enemy super attack. He gets an additional 10% chance to dodge with each attack evaded for that turn. So if you dodge one attack, he then gets an additional, he gets 40% dodge chance, then 50, then 60, so on and so forth. Meaning he has an infinite dodge stacking mechanic. Now, one thing I mentioned earlier, actually like 2 or 3 of them ago, was Tech Janemba, who needs rainbow key spheres and type key spheres to do his absolute best. One thing I'm highly disappointed in that Dokkan did was they didn't make STR Janemba a rainbow orb changer. Had they made him a rainbow orb changer, it would have made Tech Janemba look a lot better than what he actually is, because he'd be able to get his damage reduction more often. Theoretically, it'd be a lot easier to get his support than it is. And it would overall benefit the team itself, because some of his teams he's on are not the best when it comes down to key. So I wish, that's like honestly the biggest thing for him, is I wish that he had the ability to change key spheres to rainbow spheres. It would be like, because it would literally benefit his team in so many ways. Not just for him and Janemba. That's pretty much all I have for him. So we're going to hop into my 8th unit, which is, let me go find him. I'm actually scrolling through him on my thing. I've got to make sure I have the unit actually phrased right. I think I know them. There he is. Super Saiyan 3 Broly, which, you know, I've already made mention of Super Saiyan 3 Broly. We all know how good this guy is. He is Extreme Type Key 3 and 130% to all stats. And he is 3 key, 90% stats to Super Tech units. His Super Attack causes immense damage and massively lowers defense. And his passive. If you know what his passive is, you know why he gets talked about. He gives himself 120% attack and defense, plus an additional 12% attack, however, minus 6% defense per key sphere obtained. So this Broly, back before he got his Easy A, could literally zero his defense out, making him a very, 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 very terrible unit. Even nowadays, he's a very terrible unit. He hits hard. He hits like a freaking truck. But no, he's not good. And then he also has a medium chance of launching an additional super attack with 3 more tech key spheres obtained. So 30% chance to launch an additional with 3 techs. So overall, his biggest problem, in my opinion, there's some people out there that would say otherwise, but the biggest problem that this Broly has is his lowering defense on Orb. Granted, he can't zero himself out, thank goodness, anymore, but lowering still with no additional defense to him does not work very well. There's 2 ways I would rebuild this unit. I would leave the negative defense per key sphere obtained, but I would have him greatly raise defense on super. If not greatly, then massively, which is a very big difference. It's 50% and 100%. But you got to understand that this Broly is not defensive. Yes, he's more defensive after Easy A, but he's not defensive enough. So if you gave him the, we'll say greatly raising defense, or we'll say massively raising defense, mine starts off with 120k defense. You get him down to 70k, he'd then be hopping up to 140k defense. So that's not much different than what he'd actually be starting off with. The other one would be have him raise defense on Super, and then along with the raising defense on Super, have him completely get rid of the negative effect per orbs obtained. So just 12% attack per orb obtained as opposed to 12% minus 6%. 12% attack up, but minus 6%. Just because, like I said, it's kind of bad that this unit was built like that, so we don't have the... He doesn't get as much use as he should because of that aspect right there. And then back to the raising defense, like the Greatly and stuff, he has a 30% chance to do an additional, meaning this Broly could theoretically get himself up to, if it was massively and he had 70%, he'd have massively 70% to 140, then he'd do that second one to 210. I believe that's how it works, then it'd go up to 280, and if not, then he'd be 140, 280, then 560. Which I think would be a little much, but you know what? I would ultimately be okay with something like that. Just because all Brolys have always been just freaking beefcakes. They're tanky as all get out. But Brolys in game are made with no defense. And it flabbergasts me that they would even do something like that. Like this character in the anime movie walked through a Kamehameha like it was nothing and get hit by a Cyberman for 40,000 damage in a Super Saiyan 3 state, which you would think he'd be on par. Me personally, just considering how strong Broly's always seemed to be, Super Saiyan 3 Broly could theoretically be on par with Super Saiyan God. That's just me saying it, but it's how Broly's been portrayed. I don't think that's actually the case, but with how his character has been portrayed, Super Saiyan 3 Broly, 1, should be a giant muscle, 2, should be close to on par with Super Saiyan God, if not a little less than. So, yeah. Broly needs defense. I think everybody can agree that. Even if we just gave him, they just took out the defense thing, everybody'd be happy with that as is. I could be wrong there. I hope I'm not wrong. People out there, if I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong. Why would you assume that that's bad? Why would you want that? Because I know somebody out there who thinks Broly's... Me personally, I can understand why they do that, because Broly has such a high offense, but he's literally the example of a glass cannon, especially before Easy A. And that's why I really don't like him. I like the unit. I like using the unit, but I don't like using the unit. I only use them when there's nothing else to do, and I know there's only one way to win, is to just power through the unit. Whew, a lot of talking. I'm not used to this. I'm used to having buddies with me to talk, but hey, I'm gonna be able to reach my like 45-minute quota at least. So woo, go me! I need my fanfare, my applause. Woo, go me! All right, next unit is going to be a much more recent one, not even a year old yet. And that unit is Intelligent Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. Now hear me out. This is something a lot of people have griped at, and I think as I go into it, you're going to agree with me out there, players, so just hear me out. But let's go over his kit really quick. He is Powerful Comeback, or reps of 7, 3 key, 170% to stats. Super Attack, well, 12 key, causes colossal damage to enemy, and high chance of performing critical hit for 1 turn. So he gives himself the 50% crit chance for 1 turn on his 12 key. 18 key, make colossal damage to enemy, and then gives himself 50% chance to crit for the turn. So if he does one super attack, for all of you who know, if you don't know this, let me go a little thing, explanation. If he does his 18 key, he has himself 50% chance to crit. If he gets an additional super attack afterwards, it's a guaranteed crit because it stacks on itself. I found out whenever I did the unit, or I guess talk about a year ago or so, that it wasn't like that. I said it didn't stack, so I was wrong there. But his passive, which is long, so be wary. 150% attack and defense, reduces damage by 10%, plus an additional damage deduction plus 10% within the same turn after each attack received, up to 30%. So he'll be able to get up to 40% damage reduction if he's hit 3 times. If he gets 1 key with each attack performed, up to 5. Medium chance of launching an additional super attack, that's a 30%. If HP is 50% or less at start of a character's attacking turn, after a character receives 7 or more attacks in battle, you revive with 70% HP if you die within that turn. So if you're hit 7 times through the entirety of a battle, he comes in the next rotation with less than 50% HP and you die, you can activate his revive, which allows you to just come back with 70% HP. So these revive units are really powerful units. And then he also has an active skill, which can be activated with 50% or more HP starting from the 4th turn, which is just a mega colossal damage to all enemies. So, pretty good. Honestly, really good. Now, one thing out there that a lot of people I have heard have griped about in this unit is his defensive abilities. His defensive abilities are mostly reliant on the damage reduction. One thing I've seen people wish is 2 things, actually. Me personally, I'll go with what I want first, is he gets up to 40% damage reduction. If he gets hit 3 times in 1 turn, he'll have 40% damage reduction for the rest of the turn. Not the rest of the turn. No, that's how he actually is. For the rest of the event. Just because, let's say if you start off a turn with 10%, you get supered right off the bat, you're going to take a lot more damage as opposed to if you had 40% right out of the gates. That was one thing. Another one I saw people talk about is this Vegeta having the physical future Gohan effect, where he at each turn he gets an additional 10% damage reduction up to 40%, which I would be okay with that too. I would be okay with that. It would help him out. But it wouldn't at the same time. The getting hit is honestly it will be a lot better build for him. So if you're a player out there that would think that he needs a physical future Gohan thing, that's honestly it's not a bad idea. But it wouldn't work out as well as you would hope it to be, because one turn to be 10%, the next 20, 30, 40, that's 8 turns right there. If you're in an event that can last 8 turns. And that's if you get him on turn slot 1. Or slot 2. However you want to say it. It's either 4 or 8. It's every other turn. And then his other thing is his key up mechanic. Personally, his key up mechanic bothers a lot of players, me included, where it's with each attack performed. Because him being an intelligence type unit, he does not have a high chance for the additionals like AGL UI does. So though he has a 30% chance built in, it's still kind of challenging to get that in because it's a 30%. That's less than a third of every event that it's going to do something like that. I wish, as opposed to each one, we swap out like the damage reduction. If he just started off, if he gets a key per 1 key per every time he's hit, along with damage reduction. So yeah, he gets hit 5 times. He has his 40% damage reduction for the rest of the event. And then he has his 5 key right out of the gate, whereas you take AGL UI Goku, he can dodge 5 attacks, theoretically slot 1, and then he'll have his key up for the entirety of the event. So you have that right there for this unit. Would benefit him offensively. It would benefit him defensively with a damage reduction if it lasted the whole event. I don't know. Maybe in 6 years, whenever he gets an EZA, that's what they'll do. It'll be nuts. It's nuts thinking about those EZAs. Like, they're still, AGO UI and Vegeta are still top, like, 10 LRs in the game. Imagine them getting an EZA. Like, imagine AGO UI Goku hitting, like, an 8 million attack stat at 12 key. I don't think that'll be the case, but if that is, ooh, boy, that is gonna be nuts. And speaking of nuts, we're on the last unit. It's nuts that I've actually been able to do this. I really didn't think I'd be able to do this, honestly. It's a lot of talking. My jaw my jaw hurts. As much as I like talking, it helps to have other people here with me. So, yeah, hopefully next Dokkan When Dale and Will be able to be with me. And if not, I'll get something figured out. So, my final unit of the evening, well, I'm recording this at night, actually, but the final unit for today is my first Dokkan unit on my global account. At least this global account I have. Actually, my first global account in general. My original one never actually got a Dokkan unit. AGL Super Vegito. AGL Super Vegito is a unit that disappointed a lot of people after his EZA. So let's go over his unit. Super Vegito here. He gets 4 key, 100% stats to AGL type. Perfectly okay. Perfectly acceptable for the era he was in. He was 3 key, 70% to stats. Super attack. Causes immense damage to enemy and raises allies' attack by 35% for 1 turn. Very good. 40% in his passive. He gives himself attack and defense with 40% within the same turn after receiving an attack. Perceives enemy super attack when HP is 40% or less. And reduce his normal attack damage by 80% and counters with tremendous power. One thing that people did not like about this EZA be included was AGL Super Vegito back in his heyday when he first came out was the king of Dokkan. If you talk to players who've played for a long time and ask what units broke the game, like honestly upon release, I feel like a lot of them would say AGL Vegito. Because of his damage reduction back in the day, he could always hit a very good number. As someone who's used him for a very, very, very long time. He was always very offensive and even defensively. If he, as long as he didn't get supered, that's always his biggest problem. Is if he gets supered, it hurts. But we're taken to this account of this new Vegito I'm going to talk about, where Vegito here, I would want him to get unconditional 50% attack and defense at start of turn, on top of everything that I say he's about to be doing. Because 50% attack and defense right there would benefit him already, because that's higher defense than what he gets with his actual passive after he gets hit. Have this active at all times. Have him also get an additional 50% attack and defense for 3 turns after receiving an attack. So like Intelligence Janemba for players out there who don't know it, he gives himself 90% attack and defense at start of turn, I believe. And then he gets an additional 60% attack, I think is what it is. I could be wrong. Maybe I should go look. Let me go look at it. He gives himself an additional attack buff after he gets hit for 3 turns. Where are you, Janemba? Janemba? Where are you? Why can I not find you, Janemba? I don't know. There you are. Okay. Yeah, he gives 70% attack and defense to start a turn and 40% attack. I don't know why I was thinking that. Oh, he's 90%. That's why. He's 90% lead. Well, that's a mistake on me. Hey, he gives himself 70% attack and defense, and then whenever he's hit, he gives himself 40% attack for 4 turns. So I wish Super Vegito had an effect like similar to that, where he started off with the attack buff, and then after he got hit, he got the buff for another couple of turns, stacking on top of it, allowing this unit to be a lot better, a whole lot better than what he actually even is now. Because he was very, like I said, players were disappointed with his EZA because the king did not take his throne back. And some players will argue that he did. Dale's one of them, that he loves the EZA. So if you like the EZA of Vegito, there's absolutely no judgment here. I love Super Vegito. He's one of my favorite units in the game. But if you saw him in his heyday, like his literal beginning of the day to now, he was more impressive as his original debut than he was after EZA because of everything he could do. Continuing on with Super Vegito here, if you fall below 40% HP, you would get to foresee enemy super attack. I would want this Vegito to always be able to foresee super attacks on the rotation he's on. Like Physical Piccolo. If Piccolo's on rotation, he can foresee enemy super attacks for that turn. STR Jace. It's units like those. He can see the super attacks for that rotation. I would want this Vegito to do it because, Vegito counters normal attack. So it would be very beneficial to him if he allowed himself to see the attacks more often. And then the final thing I would change about this unit would be whenever you fall below 50% HP, you get a 50% chance to crit on each attack. Whereas you take STR-LR Vegito, Super Vegito, he's very offensively because he has a 30% crit chance in his passive. Imagine AGL Super Vegito with a 50% crit chance and passes if you fall below a certain HP threshold. Doing that, this Vegito would rise to a much higher level than he actually is now, and make him be very similar to how he was pre-EZA. Pre-ZA. We'll say. Trademark. Maybe. I don't know. If somebody out there trademarked it, don't trademark it. It's mine. Please. Please let me have this. I don't ask for much. Please let me have this. I don't ask for much. But, yeah, Super Vegito here. So come the final product for him. 50% attack and defense at start of turn. When he receives an attack, he gets 50% attack and defense for 3 turns. He can always foresee enemy super attacks. And he can also, if you fall below 50% HP, he gets a 50% crit chance. And that would benefit him, his teams, in this unit. Now that it's just me here, it's going to be... I'm still going to go over the final thing. We'll talk about our next thing we're going to talk about. And our next topic, which Dale and Will should hopefully be here. Guys, if you're listening to this, please, don't make me do this by myself again. But it is going to be Dokkan when? When? It's Dokkan when, always. But Dokkan then versus Dokkan now. Where we're taking an example of how teams were built back in the day versus to how they are built now. Or damage from back in the day to damage now. Because that's a very big change. Without a doubt. But I got to go through and do my single summons, right? I'll do 2 of them. The first one is... I got Piccolo and Krillin. Alright, flying in. Goku turned Super Saiyan. If I get an SSR, I'm only doing 1. I don't think I'm getting an SSR, though. Please. SSR. No, I got an SR Physical Cell. Man, can I beat myself with my summon? Or am I going to lose in my summons? We're going to find out. Boo and Yamcha. Man, Super Saiyan again. Can I get another SR? Can I beat my SR Cell? And verdict is... yes! I got an SSR! I got Intelligence Android 18! Alright, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not okay with it, but I'm okay with getting an SSR in a single, meaning I win! I'll lose too, but I win! Yeah, thank you all for listening to Dokkan When. I've been your only host, so hopefully I haven't bored you to death. It's possible. If not, who knows? You may have liked this more, I guess we're going to say informal Dokkan When? Formal, not informal. Formal. It's more informational-based Dokkan When as opposed to other ones where we just mingle with each other and then we go into Dokkan, whereas I've been talking Dokkan this entire time. So, thank you all for listening. Go check out Dokkan When on Spotify, which is where, if you are listening on Spotify, thank you. Go check it out on YouTube under KH Hauser, and if you are on YouTube, go check it out on Spotify. Spotify users the other way. If you're on YouTube and you want to keep listening to Dokkan When, I have a playlist. I'll have it linked down below on the YouTube side. Sorry, Spotify listeners, but you're on Spotify. You can just click over at any moment's notice. But if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon if you want to know whenever Dokkan When is uploaded on its every other weekly basis. And if you're on Spotify, give me a follow over there and then hit that bell, then hit the notification thing there too so you know whenever we upload. Why not? Just takes a couple seconds out of your day. It's not going to affect anybody. And if you also want to see some TikToks and stuff, go check out Dokkan When TikTok at Dokkan_When_podcast TikTok, in which you see me just doing stupid stuff. I don't rank animes. I talk about which animes are better. I make people mad. I talk video game stuff and Dokkan stuff. So yeah, there's that. And if you want to go join our Discord, come check out Dokkan When Instagram, which is Dokkan_When_podcast at Instagram. Go over there, message me. I'm typically the one who's in charge there. Come join our Discord. We'd love to have you in there. We got a fun little community there. So yeah, come and give that a listen. And if you want to be on Dokkan Who, which we have Dokkan Who's coming out. I actually uploaded one about a couple hours ago. Message me on Instagram or TikTok, either one, if you want to be on Dokkan Who, where I will get one of my buddies and interview you as a player so you can tell me your story. But with that, I'm going to sign off. Have a nice night, everybody.